Today we want to have a little bit of critical thinking conversation about critical thinking. I wonder, is it really critical thinking, or is it just I'm well informed? Are my conversations about critical thinking, or is it just that I'm well informed? So I wonder that about other people. Is it a conversation about critical thinking, or is it that people are just well informed? Let's talk about that. I want y'all to get in on this. Let me know if that's what's your thoughts on that. When people say, "Wow, you're very smart," that's because they've researched. They know a lot. They're well informed. Okay, that's what makes a person very smart. You know, when a person says, "We got to think critically," let's do some critical thinking when it comes down to this matter. Is it solutions that they come up with? Is it thoughts that they come up with from critical thinking? Is it really that they were critically thinking, or they were just in their mind assessing all the information that they have of the knowledge that they learned over the years, of their experiences that they learned over the years, and now they're going through that database in their head and they're rewinding back and going over that, and then they realize, oh, this goes with that. So I believe, what do you think about this? I've experienced something in 1989 that happened, and maybe we should apply that towards this situation in 2023. And we come up with an answer. We determine. Like they say, when you know history, you don't have to go through the things that you went through in the past. You don't have to go through it again in the future, because you already see it coming, because you've already been there. You already been told by the ancestors or by your elders, hey, don't ever do this. So now it comes time where that's about to happen, and you think that your grandfather told you don't do that when you was 12 years old. Now here you are 50. You're like, oh, I'm not going to do that because my granddad told me about this a long time ago. So is it really critical thinking, or is it just going over the old database of knowledge in your head? Is it just going over? It could be anything from something you saw on TV. It could be something you overheard in line while at the bank. It could be something that your mama told you. You know what I'm saying? But it's just you thinking, applying it to you thinking about an old thought, applying it to something new. So when I think about critical thinking, I think I'm just going through, or I'm tapping into the ancestor realm. Like, hey, I'm gonna need y'all to help me out with this one. Download me some information. Download that knowledge in my head. I'm gonna be quiet and sit here and meditate a little bit. So I'm gonna need y'all to download that information for me because I need it right now. So is it critical thinking, or is it just a download from the ancestors? Is it just some old information you had in your mind stored away that you just decide to pull out? I'm accepting likes, cash apps, donations, etc. Y'all. Shares. I appreciate if y'all can share this video, but I'm about to talk a little bit. I was thinking about somebody told me, no, somebody sent me an article about uh, Navy Federal being sued right now, talking about them not giving loans, real estate loans, to African Americans. They do the least amount of loans to African Americans, but they do it for everybody else. They do the least amount of loans for indigenous people. They do the least amount of loans for people that look like me. Y'all please share this video so other people can get it. Somebody needs to hear this. I want to offer up some solutions at the end of this. I appreciate y'all likes, y'all shares, y'all cash apps. There's a lot of stuff going on. Donations always help y'all. I don't want to be putting it out there at this time of the year, but I'm told I need to give y'all the opportunity. My Cash App is the phone number 310-619-3954. Again, 310-619-3954. Or y'all can go in there and buy a book or go in there and take a course. But going back to the Navy Federal. So Navy Federal is in the news saying that, hey, they're a bad bank. They don't give loans. They're being sued for not giving loans to people that look like me, African Americans, the indigenous people, the original people, whatever you call us, whatever you call us as a people. They're not lending to us, they say. So I wanted to sit back and have a conversation about that. Critical thinking, they call it. But to me, I'm just assessing history and thinking about what happened in the past. And Navy Federal was not the first bank that denied mainly people that look like me, African Americans, black, indigenous, the original people. So I sat back and thought about that. Yeah, no bank has a good history of lending to us. I'm going to say that again. There is no bank that has a good history of lending to us. There is no go-to bank. I used to be a mortgage broker. I used to be a real estate agent. I used to own a mortgage broker real estate agent's office. I had that. And as a mortgage broker doing mortgage loans, some people call it anyway, so yeah, as a mortgage broker who did the loans, I know that banks don't cooperate with us. I never send over a loan saying I don't have to worry about this one, unless we doctored it up. There's never been, even if I've been in situations where I remember one. My cousin had an 800 FICO score. She did everything right, had a great job, income coming in. I sent her down there to go buy a house. I was doing some investments, and I said, hey, I need you to go get one of these, blah, blah, blah. So when she went down there to get the house, I didn't go with her. And they told her an 800 FICO score really don't mean anything. They was about to give her a bad loan, and she was like, wait a minute, my cousin said blah, blah, blah. So I love her for this. She stopped what she was doing, and she picked up the phone and said, TJ, this is not going the right with you. This is not happening just like you said it would. So what do you mean it's not happening? You got the 800 FICO score, blah, blah, blah. And she said, no, the man just told me an 800 FICO score really doesn't mean anything. I said, okay, asked to speak to the manager. We got his ass fired. He straight lied, looked her in the face and lied to her. That is normal. That is very normal. So it was a test of the wits. It was a test to see was she going to stand on her guns. Was she going to back up the fact that she had an 800 FICO score? What is it? Oh, okay, I got people sending messages, testing, commenting, and I didn't even realize it because I can barely, there's a glare right there. Probably because I got on this white shirt. Let me see. Oh, I guess I got to hold my hand like that, y'all, so I can see y'all comment. So I'm going to put my fist on TikTok. Can I get some likes, y'all? Can I get some shares? That'd be appreciated. Can I get a donation or something? Somebody bless me with something. That'd be nice. I'm coming on here to share some knowledge. I just be watching this. I'm trying to figure out if this is shadow banning or is it real people on here? Anyway, so shadow banning ain't gonna like. Shadow banning ain't gonna share. So when I see people not sharing and liking and all that, it makes me question, is this real people? Because see, that's a whole nother part of the game of net neutrality. They can play games on your social media and make you think you got people on here when you really don't. You got a bunch of bots and things like that. So anyway, fast forward story, I'll go ahead and continue. got the guy in trouble for that. Lost his job, I believe. So what my point was, there is no go-to bank. There is no go-to bank that does mortgage loans for people that look like me, for indigenous people. I have never really sent over a mortgage loan in my days. I'm not just talking about it from a perspective of, oh, I'm a homeowner that bought a home back in the days and I didn't have no problems with my loan. Black people's loans, indigenous people, people look like me, something again, something for everybody. How else can I contact you? What you're doing? Okay. Somebody send me a message. Distractions. A lot of people, a lot of stuff on my mind. My close friend, my brother, just passed away from a heart attack. So that really that really bothered me. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that it was like I was just with the brother. If y'all saw me at the LA Auto Show, he was up there with me hanging out. You know what I'm saying? Him and his wife. So we was up there taking pictures and all. I'm glad I took pictures with the brother, by the way. I'm so glad I took, when my brother came to support me, I was so glad. I was like, let's take some pictures. You know what I'm saying? Because this is a cool place, you know, just to have in the archives, have some cool pictures. You know, me and my family, you know what I'm saying? My brother's with me. Next thing you know, 2 weeks later, he gone. Major blow, y'all. Major blow to the community. So anyway, what word am I looking for? Critical thinking. So there is no go-to bank for people that look like us. For people who look like me. There is no go-to bank. All banks have been accused of racism. All banks have been sued for one. Most banks, I don't want to say all because I don't directly know if all, because there's too many of them. There is a large amount of banks. The banking industry in a whole, when dealing with African American people, black people, have always given us, our people, a hard time. That is what made me get into lending. That is what made me go down there and pay all that money to take those classes, you know, invest some money into a real estate office. Back in the days, I invested some money into a real estate office, partnered up with with a friend of mine's. You know, shout out to Nancy. I appreciate Nancy. You know what I'm saying? She looked out. She put me on. She pushed me. She pushed me and said, let me tell you what happened with Nancy. Let me tell y'all what happened. I ain't trying to put her out there, by the way. Throw her name out there in the middle of my conversations, especially topics I choose to speak on all the time. But I was putting together a major real estate play back in 1996. I had been doing some major plays back to back, just hitting them hard, just like wham, wham, just hitting them. And I had a team working with me. You know what I'm saying? I had a team, you know, that we would do stuff. So when you put it like this, let me tell you how it worked out for me. Because I own a lowrider shop, we were very liquid as a community. The lowriding community does not experience the same problems that the college community, that the regular job-based community goes through. Why is that? Because the college community is buried in debt. They purely operate off of credit. They are 90% credit and 10% cash, where the lowrider community is 99.5% cash, and credit is not even really considered for the most part, because as a business owner, it's difficult to prove your income. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we can just show a 10, it's not like we can just show our, I don't even know the name. I can't even think of the name of it. How about that? Or a paycheck stub. It's not like business owners has a paycheck stub all the time. It's not like business owners can come in and says, hey, here's my paycheck stub. You know, some people who do it that way, they pay themselves a certain amount of money a month. They can come in and say, here's my paycheck stub. But when you just straight up a business owner, You don't have to. You don't go through that. So we can never just walk into the bank. They always ask you, "Do you own a business?" For us, because we don't have paycheck stubs for the most part. Now you got all this new age business, people doing things totally different. Of which I would think we were better off when we did cash only. I like cash only personally. So that's just me. A lot of people like cash is stupid. It's all about credit. Yeah, okay, credit is cool when you can use it, but you're always paying a higher interest rate. You know what I'm saying? You always paying a higher interest rate unless you didn't forge some kind of document. So anyway, fast forward the story. When they see us, most of the time, they will always change the narrative and make it very difficult. So because I had the lowrider community, I'm like the voice of the lowrider community, y'all. I'm the smart guy, they call me. I'm the smart guy. I'm the representative of the lowriders. When you see lowriding and you got a question, most likely I'm gonna be the guy that is leading the way, that's gonna be there to answer the questions if I know about it, if I've been informed about it. Now you got some other people who want to be in charge and want to do that too, but that's questionable. But I got the longest history of being the voice, of always showing up. So anyway, I was the one who molded the way for the lowrider community. So I helped a lot of those guys get houses. So when I helped a lot of those guys get houses, I turned around and I would do the loans. I would always put together their loans of how we are going to approach it. Because whenever you're buying a house or a commercial building or any type of real estate investment, and you're thinking about credit, or if you whatever you're thinking about, you can never just roll into the bank and think you're going, hey, I need a loan, or hey, I want to buy, even if you got cash, hey, I want to buy this. You got to have a strategy of how you're going to go in there. You got to have a strategy of how you're going to go about this. You know what I'm saying? So you got to know your due diligence, do your due diligence, and research properties and projects first. So, they call me, now I don't put myself out there like that, but I'll just say I did some major plays. I was making major real estate plays. So going back to my friend Nancy, because I was making major real estate plays back in the days, one of my good friends, one of my people who was working with me, name was Nancy. And I was doing so much stuff and she didn't understand what I was doing. It was crazy to her because she had never seen nothing like this before. Now, keep in mind, this is a seasoned mortgage broker who was purely doing business with people who were paying with credit. I was I was the first investor that would come in and was doing things with cash, that could come up with the large amounts of money so that we can do certain things. Now, if I did credit, I didn't come in there for FHA for the most part. I'd come in there with 50% down or something like that, and later come back and we'd pay it off or whatever. So it's a different community. So anyway, Nancy saw what I was doing. No, she saw that something wasn't going right and she didn't understand it because she thought we were going to default on these loans. This looked very fraudulent. When put it like this, in real estate, when you see things that don't look normal, that ain't normal, that you've been doing loans every day for the last 5, 10 years, and all of a sudden the majority of your loans look like this, and then all of a sudden you got this young brother coming there and he's doing things differently. The way you think things should go, he ain't doing it that way. He didn't created his own lane. I've created my own lane, and I would go in there and do things, but I never did it in person with her. I would send other people, to do stuff because again, we was paying cash. So on one of my loans I was doing, she finally said, enough is enough. This is a crazy loan. She wanted to meet me. So she said, she arranged to meet me. And then I went out, and I remember it was outside of the escrow company because, and I'm trying to think, every time I speak, y'all, I was just telling my buddy, I was one to never speak about stuff. So when y'all see me on social media talking, just know that wasn't normal all my life. I didn't start talking till I started realizing how many people needed help. So That's when I tend to be a little uncomfortable. I tend to stutter. I tend to repeat myself. I tend to say things a little interesting, misquote myself, go back, start over. I tend to do things a whole lot differently because I'm not comfortable with putting my business out there because, you know, things wasn't right. Things didn't look right. So I was never comfortable with putting my business out there. Unlike these people today, these rappers be on there bling bling and you got these young people standing there with all this money on their ear. People like me, my friends, would never do such a thing. Never. Never. Would never want you to know how much money. Never know we got money like that. Never bling blinging and all that crazy madness. That's a part of that black on black crime. Setting people up for failure. I can't stand that. But anyway, so here I come doing real estate a different way. I appreciate them likes, y'all. I appreciate them likes and shares. I appreciate those likes and shares, y'all. Can a brother get some donations? Help a brother out with some stuff. I got more ideas and I got money. I got a lot of things going on. But anyway, let me get back to my story. So I was pushing the line on real estate, and my good friend Nancy wanted to meet me in person. She was just a black. I always choose to work with black people. Let me say that again. I have always preferred to work with people who look just like me because I know that when they see us doing something that wins, a good person will always have a conscience and say, let me help them. They're doing something, they're in a position to win. Let me drop this information on them so that they can go ahead and help others, so that they can win. So I would run all my lowrider guys through Nancy. You know what I'm saying? I would run all my guys, my business owners, through her because I found out there was a black mortgage broker. So I didn't want to go to the bank. I didn't like the bank. I didn't like dealing with the banks. Even though I had money in the bank, in my multiple bank accounts back then or whatever, I didn't get treated right. I'm going to say that again. Even though I had large amounts of money in multiple banks, I did not get treated right. If I needed credit, I was told I didn't have credit. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a cash person, they were trying to lead me to believe that cash was bad. I didn't have time for that because I don't want to make mortgage payments. I didn't like making payments. Payments was never a good thing for me. So I never liked making payments, and I like just owning stuff outright. So I would always try to pay stuff off. So all of a sudden, I found out about a black mortgage broker. Y'all here with me, roll with me on this. So the sister saw me doing a lot of moves that in her 20 years of doing real estate, she ain't never seen nobody making plays like that. And it scared her. She didn't understand it. And I would say that when white people see things they don't understand, they call the police. I'm going to say that again. When white people see things they don't understand and it's coming from a black person, they will call the police, they will call the alphabet people, they will sic the authorities on them. So that's why I prefer to work with people who look like me, because if you sell me out, you throwing your whole community under the bus. Now, because she didn't understand it, did not mean it was illegal. I'm going to say that again. Because she did not understand it, did not mean it was illegal. See what I'm saying? So I'm a very critical thinker. I know a lot about money. I can care less about credit. I know a whole lot about money. I know the power of money. So I was making some plays, and Nancy, my friend, did not understand, or in the right word, overstand. She understood what I was doing, but she didn't overstand it because she'd never seen it before. So instead of saying this dude's a fraud, I've never seen this before, how could he come up with these large amounts of money? How could he buy that many houses in back to back? Something's up. Let me call the police. Let me call the alphabet people. Let me notify the authorities. She didn't do that. She didn't understand it, overstand it. So she said, let me reach out to this brother and look him in the eyes and have a talk with him and see exactly who he is and what's he doing. And if he sounds legitimate, I'll work with him. But if he ain't legitimate, I'm not. I don't want to. She wouldn't have done no more business with me. So she wanted me to tell her what I was doing because she didn't understand it and how I was going about it. So I agreed to meet her because it was funny. She wanted to meet. I said, well, at the time I was up in Palmdale and I'm a very busy man. So she wanted me to come, but I was coming down to Beverly Hills to pick up a check for one of these properties I had just did business with. I had just sold or something. It was a large check. So before they released that money, she wanted to meet me before I went into the escrow office. You know what I'm saying? So I turned around and I got there early and we literally sat in the car. We sat in the car outside the escrow office in Beverly Hills. And I told her what I was doing, and she said that was the coldest thing she ever heard in her life. She been doing this for a whole bunch of years, and she ain't never seen. She deals with a whole lot of investors. She deals with high-end investors, and she ain't never seen no shit like what I was doing, right? So I turned around and said, so what's happening with her? Does she have a problem with me? Are we okay? Because I like to keep moving. Now that we got to meet, this ain't nothing from what I could do, what I would like to do. And I would like to do a whole lot more. And she was like, wow. She was like, okay, would you have a problem coming to my real estate office and teaching my people about what you do? How you doing this? Because you look at real estate a whole different way that we didn't even know was possible. So, as y'all probably figuring, no. Let me put my fist back there so I can see what's going on. She said, can you come up here and have a word? Come start talking to my clients. I mean, her real estate students. So I agreed to, I was like, no, she said, can you come give a lecture and have a talk to her students? And as the more I think about it, that was the first time I was ever asked to come out and teach somebody else outside of my lowrider community. That was the first time I was asked to come stand in a room and tell people what I'm doing and teach them how to do it. Y'all heard what I said? That was the first time that I was asked to come outside of my lowrider community and go into a room full of strangers that I've never met before and give them the game. And I asked her, I told her, I said, I don't normally do that. Do they look like me? You know what I'm saying? And she says, yes, her whole office is black, look just like you, blah, blah, blah. I said, do you trust them? She said, yes. I said, all right, as long as you keep helping me do what I'm doing, I ain't got to worry about nothing, I'd appreciate it. And I said, since I got you here, I have some questions for you. And I hit her with some questions and it just blew her mind the way I think. You know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden, I took off some time. I think she set it up on a Sunday. That was the day I didn't have on that particular Sunday. I opted to not go to a car show because that's the day I would go to car shows. Man, I used to work 7 days a week, y'all. I used to go so hard 7 days a week. I had just stuff to do. I was a businessman for real, and I would work 7 days a week. I would run my business 7 days a week, have my shop going 6 days a week, and on the 7th day I would go to a lowrider show. Lowrider shows was always, for the most part, was always on Sundays. So I would drive out of town and go to a lowrider show. So this day, because this real estate lady asked me, and I knew that me and my lowrider buddies, my cash paying buddies that built all these lowriders, we needed to learn the game because we needed to, become acceptable. So anyway, what do I mean by that? We need to be able to say, oh, we qualify for credit. I did not like credit, but I did not like the fact that I needed a paper trail. I needed to prove where my income came from. Even though I was making money off of lowriders, it was just something. See, this is something I'll be telling on stage when I'm talking to people, doing my lectures and stuff. I'll be standing on stage talking about this. And the social and economic effects of lowriding. Nobody believed that a lowrider shop was producing cash like that. They thought lowriders, gangbang, drug dealers, he must be a drug dealer. You know what I'm saying? So they wanted me to have a paper trail. But anyway, so I remember going into the real estate office and teaching people what I was doing, and it blew their minds. And it was just wow because I'm sitting there dressed regular. I didn't have no suits and ties back then. You know, I had on a sweatsuit. That was my suit, was a sweatsuit. I rolled in the office. She was in, matter of fact, they filmed that movie, uh, Barry Gordy's movie. They was in that building that Barry Gordy's record label was at in L.A. So anyway, I go to her office, and I'm sitting there in my sweatsuit, and I'm leaning against the desk, sitting on the desk, and I'm just sitting there talking. And I was way different from everybody in the room. Everybody had on suits and ties and regular dresses and stuff, and I'm in there in a sweatsuit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm in there to educate the educated. How about that? That was one of the first times I ever spoke in front of a large room of investors, in front of a large room of real estate agents, mortgage brokers. They were all there. They had people came from different offices and everything. She had told a lot of people that I was coming, and she's like, I got this dude from Compton. He's coming out, and he's coming to talk about real estate because he's been making some major plays that I ain't never seen before. So of course they was in there. They came with questions. They was trying to rip me apart, asking me 8,000 questions, and I felt like I was standing on the thing with my baseball bat, and they coming in there with their best pitchers, throwing the ball as hard as they can, as fast as they can, and every last one of them I was hitting home runs. And they was like, for a dude that never took a mortgage loan class, you sure know a lot about real estate. I said, no, I know a lot about business. I'm a businessman. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, yeah, that was the first time I believe in my life that I sat in a room full of business people wearing suits and ties, dressed up high end, 1% community, and gave them some knowledge on real estate on how I was making plays. And she said a lot of this stuff, ain't none of this stuff illegal, just certain things is unethical. You know, somebody else said that actually. Somebody else said that. So fast forward the story, she supported me in everything I did. I later turned around and said, instead of me running back and forth down here to LA instead of me having people come to LA, can we partner and I want to open up my own real estate office in Palmdale. And she looked at me, she smiled because she knew the stuff I was doing. I was running real estate through there like crazy. And she agreed, and we opened up our own office together. She opened up, I had a TJ Loftin real estate office, but it was not mine. It was my building. It was my office, my furniture, but it was her license. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate Nancy for putting her name on the line for me to do some stuff, to make some moves back in the days. But anyway, how was I able to make those moves? I was able to make those moves because low riding taught me a whole lot. Low riding taught me a whole lot. I was doing business internationally for years. I've been manufacturing my own car parts. So I realized business is a whole nother animal. And I was doing it differently from other business people I was dealing with. When I started manufacturing car parts, and when I started shipping lowriders overseas, I was one of the first people in our community. Lowrider guys were some of the first people that did international business. How about that? A lot of people don't know that. Lowrider guys are some of the first people that did international business consistently, or period. When we started shipping lowriders overseas, there was no other black people in the world that was doing that consistently. It ain't just about, let me, now I'm lying. Hold on, I don't mean to lie. I don't mean to go that way. That ain't true. That ain't true. That is not true. I don't know where that thought came from. We were some of the biggest because I had a homeboy, and I hope he's still living. I don't know if he's living, but his name was Willie Gary, Mr. Willie. I don't know if his last name was Gary because that was the attorney, one of the attorneys. Willie, Mr. Willie, was a beast. He would ship cars to Africa. Willie was the buyer for Africa. He's the one who turned me on to Galp and Ford back in the days. So Willie took me into Galpin because I already knew the language. But that's a whole nother conversation. But yeah, Willie took me into Galpin Ford and plugged me up with Galpin because he found out the volume of cars I was buying. You know, new trucks for my tow trucks and my tow truck companies and all that stuff. So he hooked me up, you know what I'm saying? And Willie would ship a whole lot of cars to Africa. Well, I thought I was buying a lot of cars. Mr. Willie was buying a lot of cars too. He was doing volume. He was shipping brand new cars. I was shipping classic cars. But anyway, so Mr. Willie taught me a lot of stuff. So no, I was not the first. Mr. Willie was putting it down for some decades because he was a buyer for the country, for certain countries in Africa. He'd go into Ford, like, give me 10 of those Focuses, give me 10 of those F-150s, give me 10 of those F-350s, and give me 5 of those 20 of those F-150s. Man, Mr. Willie was a beast. He was no joke. So anyway, so low ride, that was, but Mr. Willie was not your average guy. He was one of few in the world that was doing stuff like that. So he was he was the biggest, I do believe, because to this day, I ain't never met another person like Mr. Willie outside of a lowrider guy. So anyway, getting back to my story, I would ship cars. I was doing a lot of international business, shipping cars globally. So I had attained a certain amount of knowledge about oceans, about weather patterns, about the time zones in foreign countries, about shipping companies. You know, I can ship this to these countries, but I can't use that same shipping service to ship it to other countries, you know, because of whatever it was, sanctions, treaties. I learned how to maneuver around all that type of stuff. So if you hear me, y'all have never really heard me speak. Y'all have heard, it take a person who's on a whole nother level to interview me. And that's why what they say, they got people different levels of conversation. You got to be on a whole nother level of conversation to get me talking about things like this, because most people can't hold a conversation like I can hold. You know, they think they doing some stuff talking about conversation, but they ain't really talking about nothing. That's why I listen to the people who's talking. And I'll be like, they be like the biggest businesses and big this and big that. They big speakers. And I'll be like, that stuff they talk about is tier 2 conversation, pretending to be tier 4 and 5, like they out there. Most people speaking from a tier 1 conversation. But anyway, I go back into connect with Miss Nancy. We start doing our real estate, and I turn her on to a whole lot of real estate plays. And Miss Nancy, she pushed me, and she pushed me because she saw who I was, and she said, "I want you to get your mortgage broker's license." I'm like, "What? I'm a real estate person. I mean, I'm a lowrider shop owner. What I look like with a mortgage broker's license?" She wanted me to get a real estate license and a mortgage broker license. She said I'd be dangerous if I had those. So different people have different levels of knowledge. I don't need to go to school to learn anything. I need someone who's went to school, who learned some stuff. Y'all hear what I said? I'm going to say that again. Most people like myself don't need to go to school to learn nothing. They need to have someone who's already went to school, who learned some things, that can repeat the things they learned when asked a question up. So I would ask questions from people who knew a lot about real estate, and they would answer my questions, and I would put together a play based on the answers that they gave me. So that's how I would put stuff together. So I did not need to go to a real estate school. I would just pick the brain of a person who been to a real estate school, of a person who had a mortgage broker's license. So so fast forward the story, I learned that after the fact. If I'm already making money doing this by asking people questions, like another thing I started doing, I had this badass attorney, right? This sister was a beast, and I liked the way she moved. I liked the way she ran plays. So I said, "You doing real? You amazing over here with your strategies. But if I can bring you over here with me on the whole nother side of the tracks, and we run some plays over here, but I need you to learn. You know what I'm saying?" So I ran some problems across her that I was experiencing in real estate, that they would tell me you can only do this and you can only buy that many houses at one time without doing this. So you need to get credit. You need to be blah, blah, blah. So I sent that attorney lady, I put her on payrolls. That was the first time I had an attorney that worked for me, right? I stopped hiring attorneys and I hired her. I did not hire her, give her a retainer fee to come and see, this is the type of stuff I don't normally be talking about. I'm sure y'all heard me say this before, but these are the conversations that I would normally start stuttering because I don't want to talk about it. But since it was so long ago, I can talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, when I had this attorney and I saw the knowledge, the way she think, I saw the way she ran plays, I saw her strategies. I said, she's a beast. And she's very good at it from this perspective. But if I had her over there, she'd be a nightmare. She'd be a nightmare. So I trained her up and told her the things that I wanted her to go ask questions for. Plus, she had a little bit of real estate knowledge, but not the kind that I needed. So I needed her to engage, go into the mortgage broker's office. So I arranged for her to meet my people and ask them some questions and figure out from a law perspective that can protect me to where I would not be breaking the law. Because y'all know when we doing something so major, we will be considered breaking the law. So I had her sit down with my attorney. I set my attorney down with my mortgage people, and asked them 8 million questions for me. That way I didn't have to stutter. Because, when I'm asking certain questions, I might start stuttering because I'm scared to ask it because I don't want no drama. So she was able to go in there from a law perspective and knew what she could say and what she couldn't say. So I put them together, and she came back with all my answers to all my questions. Boy, we put some plays together. So like I said, when you got the right people that got information and you an investor, you don't need to go to school and get no information. You just got to have these people on speed dial. That's what I am to a lot of people. I'm a coach. I'm an advisor. So if you see me, I always say I'm an advisor to the Compton and Inglewood school districts. I sit down and I help them run plays. You know what I'm saying? What direction should we do with these young people? What should we do with them? Blah, blah, blah. So I help them to make some of the biggest plays in Compton history. You know what I'm saying? I ain't here to brag about it. I'm just telling y'all, I'm here to tell y'all it's possible. That's all I'm trying to say. So when they want to send everybody through college, I have a problem with that because I never went to college, and a lot of my friends never went to college. But we all understand the need to have a coach. So that's why I coach people. So if y'all interested in some coaching, some training, and things like that, I don't have a problem having some unfiltered conversation with y'all offline. You know what I'm saying? Because the way people think is totally different. The way I think is totally different. Man, I still ain't seeing these. I know somebody over here making messages and I ain't seeing them. Let me see. So anyway, what was my thoughts? So we ran some major plays, but even with my mortgage broker's license, even with my real estate license, even with an 800 FICO score, I could never walk in there and get a loan standard with good credit. It just don't work that way. You know what I'm saying? You have to really know your stuff. You have to really defend yourself. You have to really stand your ground on your knowledge, because these people will look you in your face and lie to you without even blinking, and will act like y'all best friends and tell you getting the best interest rate, the best loan, and be lying to your face because they know it's not true. But they don't care. They are trained that way. The racism allows them to be that way. And, people look like us get paid to screw over people and high five them and give them bonuses. But anyway, going back to the original topic at hand, Navy Federal is involved in a lawsuit because they're saying Navy Federal don't do loans for black people. And I thought that was kind of interesting because Navy Federal is known for doing a lot of business loans for black people, giving them small business loans or something like that. As I listen to credit, people talk about credit. They always say, get a Navy Federal account, get a Navy Federal account. And I just listen to stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? But they're known for doing business loans, but they're not known for doing home loans. And I need y'all to critically think about that. Why would they give you a business loan? They would prefer you to have a business before they would prefer you to give you a mortgage loan. Why is that? I want y'all to really think about that. They will give you a business loan, personal loan, but they don't want to give you a mortgage loan. So they're being sued for that. Navy Federal is being sued for that. So my conversation that we was talking about was the simple fact that the banking system is not known for giving black people, indigenous people, the original people that look like me and you, loans. They are not known for that. That is not common. Just like I know Ford Motor Credit. Oh, if you want to buy a car, Ford Motor Credit is known for giving black people a loan. You can go to Toyota with the same credit, with the same amount of money. Toyota will say no. You can go to Cadillac. You can go to Mercedes. You can go to Porsche, and they will be like, no. But Ford will say, if you want to take one of our raggedy little cars, we'll give you a loan. Hands down, same information. So Ford is known for doing loans for black people. They ain't the best loans, but they'll give you a loan. You see what I'm saying? So that is not no people like that. There's no bank that I know is known for giving black people mortgage loans. There is no mortgage bank that is known, in my personal opinion, y'all, and I've been doing this for some decades. I've been about that life. You got a lot of people who be on social media supposed to be the best, and they so smart, they got big ass social media followings. But it's so funny, the people that I know doing the most work don't even have social media. Some of the biggest mortgage brokers, biggest gurus, biggest real estate agents on the planet got like 400 friends on their social media, and they rarely post. So to see people on social media talking about they the gurus and they the real estate experts and all of that, I just be looking like, okay, he just acquired some real estate. I'd be like, okay, cool. I don't knock nobody, but I just be looking, who's teaching? Why are they teaching? Not everybody is coming from a tier 1 conversation. I mean, people coming in, I'm like, the shit with the amount of real estate you got that your dad just left you, you need to be having a tier 4 conversation because your dad was clearly a tier 4 kind of guy. So the shit that you're going to learn from these people over there ain't the stuff you need to know to do what you need to do. They don't know nothing about this, So I just be looking, y'all. I just be looking and paying attention. I don't be paying attention, but I be looking because so many people send me stuff. Shout out to all my loyal people that send me things and want to know what I think about, that want me to come on social media and talk about stuff. Again, I appreciate y'all. Give me some likes. Can TikTok, Instagram, can your brother get some likes? Can I get some shares? Can y'all share this for me so other people can hear what I'm talking about? Can y'all like this for me? So anyway, I be thinking about that kind of stuff. And people, thank y'all, appreciate it. And I be thinking about that kind of stuff. And people be having a good conversation, but don't really be saying anything. And I'm known for that, to be honest with you. I can talk all day and not really say much, about what I can really talk about. My people be looking at me like, TJ's doing real good. He's helping people, giving them information, telling them where the money is. But he ain't talking about none of that real stuff, because real information will get you flagged. You know what I'm saying? Even before, when I knew that there's certain things I can't talk about because it could be a problem, then I start hearing about shadow banning. But then when they know who you are and they know that you can say some stuff, they'll ban you without saying anything. And I'm one of those kind of guys. But they don't shadow ban me based on the fact that they won't shadow ban me and just block me. They don't do that because I'm not that kind of guy. They know the right kind of people like myself has the know-how and the power to go get another social media platform started. They know I'm that kind of guy. I have a history of people don't like to tell me no because they don't want me on they don't want me on they don't want to be on my radar of something that needs to be fixed. You feel me? Now, see, stuff like that maybe I need to not say. Because why do I say that though? Because when people tell me no, I start thinking, how can I replace them? You know what I'm saying? That's how we're supposed to do. I think from a critical background of knowledge and information and creating plays to improve our situation. So, okay, solutions and strategies. What can we do about these banks? For one, you can't just use your bank. Just because you bank at such and such and you got $1 million in that bank don't mean they're going to give you a mortgage loan. Just because you bank at a bank and you got a large amount of money in that bank does not mean they're going to give you a mortgage loan. Why? Because you don't know how to make a play. You're not making plays. You need a coach. You need a strategist, and that's who I am. Not me. Not let me say that. And I'm not gonna say that because I notice when I say stuff, you need a coach. You need a strategist. Then all of a sudden, other people gonna say, "Oh, I'm a strategist." They will immediately go change their platform name because they water down the conversations. Let me talk about that. People will come in and water down the conversation to make you think you're getting what TJ's providing, but they not. So if y'all want coaching, consultations, training, want to go on my online courses, go to my website at tjloftin.com. I teach classes, by the way. I always tend to forget to mention that. If you go to my website at tjloftin, LOFTIN.com, tjloftin, LOFTIN.com, I have some real estate courses on my website where I teach people how to make plays, where I teach people how to think. You know what I'm saying? And you will see it is a lot different from other things that's out there. There's people who've been out there for years that don't really know a lot about real estate. They own a lot of real estate, but they don't know a lot about it, y'all. There's a significant difference. There's people that own a lot of real estate, but they don't know a lot about it. Now remember, if y'all want to get a copy of my best-selling book, again, it's also on my website at tjloftin.com. That book, when I wrote that book, when I wrote two of them. I wrote two books. I wrote one, instant bestseller, because people know who. It's not about. I always tell people, if you look, I created an EPK and I wrote about it because I was talking to someone. They said, "Why don't you have a big following? Why don't you have such a large following?" I said, unknown to others, my following tends to go down. I got like 26,000. I remember having 26,300, and I was waiting on it to go to 400. Then all of a sudden it dropped down to 26,200. I'm like, how is that possible? Well, that's the type of games they play. But anyway, I started teaching those classes because I saw that nobody was out on a national tour teaching real estate, telling people what was about to come. Go check your history. Go back, dig deep into my social media. When I started on this national tour, there was nobody, no other speakers was on a national tour talking about real estate, talking about gentrification. I was the first person to bring gentrification, to take gentrification on a national tour and tell people that we have to monetize this stuff that is about to happen because the whole world is looking at the black communities, African American communities, indigenous communities, whatever you choose to call yourself, people who look like me. They are looking at our community and saying they're going to come in there and gentrify the heck out of our communities so that they can monetize all the wealth that's there because all our real estate was undervalued at the time, because all those appraisers and all those crooked real estate agents and officers and mortgage brokers have been collaboratively working together to keep the black community undervalued. So they wanted to be able to come in and buy the houses dirt cheap and reap the benefits of all the equity that's in the houses that our community didn't know about. So I was the first person to take gentrification on a national tour. I coached, I sat down with top speakers and told them who I was and why was I saying these things. And when they researched me, they said, wow. You see what I'm saying? He should know. He has people in his background that, I have a background. That's why you don't hear too many people talking bad about me. They will talk about me privately, but they will not come on social media. And I don't want to start no trouble, and I ain't challenging nobody. I'm just making a statement. When you got people who really know a lot about stuff and they don't want you digging them up, other people who want to hate on people behind the scenes, they won't go publicly and say nothing about them like they would about Jay Morrison's or the Boyce Watkins, et cetera, about those kind of people, about the crookedness and the illegals or whatever they doing. You know what I'm saying? I ain't looking, I ain't caring, that's on them. You know what I'm saying? They will talk about them because they don't have a background like I do. They didn't lead a whole army of people into becoming successful like I did. You see what I'm saying? So that's why you very rarely will hear somebody. You won't hear nobody. I am not trying to start no trouble either, by the way. You won't hear that because when they dig, if you go digging in my background, you will find out that stuff I talk about is real. I talk about real estate. I talk about entrepreneurship. So when I stepped out and decided to go on a self-finance tour back in the days, it changed the world. Again, because nobody was doing it. Nobody was in our community letting us know what was about to happen. Nobody was in our community. I don't want to say nobody. They had people who was in their own communities. Nobody was on a national tour other than me, traveling the country, talking about what's happening and its effects on the rest of the world, except for me. I was the first person that traveled the country and started going to areas where we live, people that look like me, where we live, and told them what's happening in California and what's about to happen around the world and its effects and how things happen in stages and how they recognize it, how they overstand it. That's why I was doing a lot of speaking until they retooled. I always say the alleged powers that be, they retooled and restructured, and then they decided to put some horses in the race to come in there and talk about real estate. But they came in with a watered down version of real estate to control the narrative. So now you're looking at them. Well, they got way more speakers than TJ, followers than TJ. They got way more. They getting way more radio shows, way more of this, way more of that. That's called controlling the narrative. People want to control the narrative so that you will think what they want you to think. Just like when you watch TV, it's called programming. You're watching a program because they programming you to think a certain thing. So when I'm watching TV, I say all the time, I go over my mom's house and my mom sits down and watches TV. I'm a vegan. I try to eat vegan stuff for the most part. Sometimes I'm a pescatarian when it's hard to travel and find all full vegan restaurants, some of these places I go. Like right now, I'm in the city. There ain't no vegan. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I stumbled across a vegan burger at a restaurant the other day. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, my point is, I was sitting at mom's house and we was watching. Mom liked to watch TV, so I just go over there. That's a good day. We go over there and chop it up and sit down and watch her favorite TV shows. So I watch it with her just to see where her head is at and talk with moms. So all of a sudden, I'm sitting there. McDonald's commercials on back to back, Burger King, Taco Bell, Jack in the Box, back to back to back to back to back to back to back. By the time the show was over, you got this vegan pescatarian guy that don't eat beef and don't eat nothing like that, thinking about, damn, I need a Burger King burger. I need some McDonald's. I need to swing by a Pizza Hut and get me a pizza or something like that. So that's called programming. if they keep telling you the bullshit that this is good, if they keep programming you, you're going to think it's good and you're going to want to do it. And you're going to do it. So now what do I mean? When I started traveling the country and started talking about what was happening, what was coming, they had to remobilize and create some speakers that can go out and travel the country and do what I'm doing, but change the narrative and talk about something different to distract you away from the real estate. You see what I'm saying? So here comes all these speakers talking about the stock market. Here come all these speakers talking about Bitcoin. Here come all these speakers talking about Forex. In the biggest real estate market in U.S. history, where people are gentrifying the hell out of black communities, they want black people gonna come into the neighborhood, into our communities, and start pushing stocks, saying empower the people who's gentrifying our communities. Give your money to Google. Give your money to Apple. Give your money to all of these gentrifying corporations that you use every day. But they looking at me crazy for saying that. But the fact is, why would you give your money to your person that's gentrifying your community? So you will do that when your best favorite speaker is telling you to. You see what I'm saying? That's why certain people don't want to be on the stage with me, because they are pushing things that I don't believe in, and I'm not going to never try to bring harm to my own community. So when they're sitting there saying, oh, y'all got to invest in the stock market, I'm not saying that, because they say invest in the things that you use all the time. How you going to have a conversation about recycling black dollars, but then tell your people to take that money and give it to the white folks? Invest this money into the communities of gentrifiers that's trying to gentrify you. That's the part I have a problem with. So when I called them out and asked them about it, you notice they ain't never responded to that conversation. Nobody will sit there and say that's true and no, he's right, we shouldn't be doing. They will not acknowledge that conversation. They don't want to talk about that. They will just tell you all the money they're making in it, because they're being paid to tell you all the money they're being made in it. In fact, let's talk about that a little deeper. Let's have some deep down discussion, some critical thinking about that. I done heard about racist stuff. Now, y'all may have to get involved, and I'm going to have to look at the screen. I done heard a lot of racist comments about black people in banking, black people being deprived of loans. Black people will not be given loans. They having a hard time giving black people loans for real estate purchases. I hear that all the time. That is so normal. That is so common. Lawsuits being filed, stealing black people's real estate, blocking black people from real estate, not allowing people that look like me to have home ownership. But I have never heard that about stocks. Y'all heard what I said? And correct me if I'm wrong. I have never seen a lawsuit against a stock brokerage for not selling black people stocks. I have never heard about stock stealing, people stealing stock money. I ain't never heard that. I always hear so many black people say I own stocks. So many people talking about Google just split. Apple just did this, and I invested that, and I made money, and I'm making money in stocks. I don't never hear, correct me if I'm wrong, and I'm looking at the screen. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Do you guys know of, can y'all send me an article where it says the black people are being screwed over through making stock investments, other than something I said, where they're suing the banks, the stock brokerages about racism, not allowing black people to give them their money to flip? Is there an article that exists like that? And I would like to say no. And if it is one, it is not that common to be promoted, because people send me stuff all the time. When I say that the colleges alone was not enough, you need to make some type of real estate business ownership investments. I had all kind of people over the years sending me documents. TJ, look at this article. TJ, read this. TJ, look at that. It was all about saying you are absolutely right. They just won't talk about this. You are absolutely right, TJ. I've never seen, but I always talk about the stock market. I have made it very clear. I do not want to invest money in somebody who's gentrifying our communities. And I have never, ever seen, no one has ever seen me something that I could go on my live, on my social media and post it saying, I told you, look, here's the article about blacks being locked out of the stock market. I'm going to tell you why. My water is low. That means my live should be low. Should be short. Or maybe I should turn the volume back. Why is it not any lawsuits? Why are people not having problems like that? Purely based on the simple fact that's what they want us to put our money in. That's where they want us to put our money at. They want us to invest into those. They want us to give them their money, our money. These banks, these mortgage, these stockbrokers they prefer us to give them our money while they give us pennies on the dollar. They use our money to gentrify our communities. How about that? They've always created situations to allow us to help them to gentrify our communities. Yes, facts. Facts. But giving us situations in like I'm doing, talking about real estate ownership, they don't want us having that knowledge. You see what I'm saying? So that's why they'll flood our communities with people telling you about stocks, bitcoins, NFTs. Y'all, come on now. I've seen so much of that stuff come in like a tidal wave, and everybody just jump on board. And then it just disappears, and people don't want to be held accountable, and you don't hear nothing else about it. They just completely stop talking about it. They don't apologize. They don't come back and say, hey, y'all, I screwed. They messed up. Don't make investments in this. Y'all ever notice that? But they will continue to tell y'all to put your money in the stock market. During the biggest real estate market in U.S. history, they telling y'all to invest your money in the stock market so that they can buy all these houses back and use your money to do it, to gentrify you and raise your rent, raise the cost of living in your neighborhood where you can't afford to live there no more, raise the cost of houses. Next thing you know, you moving away. So they want you to put your money in the stock market because it's not really benefiting you. They're gonna pay you some money. You'll be able to pay your bills. You'll be able to access 10,000, something like that. But they will block you. People will mess with you and try to keep you out of real estate unless you make some changes. That's why I do coaching, y'all. I'm open. I'm available throughout this holidays, whatever y'all consider calling it. There's so many different people got different languages about it, but if y'all like coaching, consultations, and training, let me know. If y'all want to book me as a speaker at your next coming up event, if you a college alumni, college students, let me know, family. Please reach out to me and book me for speaking engagements because it's a lot of things coming down the pipeline, and our people is the last to find out about it. Y'all seen I've been pushing the narrative, telling y'all about flying cars, telling y'all to get pilot licenses, telling y'all to get real estate, start buying land, put yourself into the trades, put these children back into the trades, and teach them how to build their own houses. I'll probably come back on here tomorrow and do a live about that or something like that. Talk about construction, about the money being made, talk about the auto industry, about the wealth being made, y'all, because people need this information. So y'all need to help me. I appreciate if y'all can help me. I won't say y'all need to. You really do need to. I'll be honest with you, but people don't like to be told what they need to do. People like to be asked. So I'd appreciate it if y'all could help a brother out and get me into some speaking engagements to where I can speak in front of large amounts of people. And the most people that need this knowledge is the college graduates. You know, the Black College Expo, they allow me to come speak in front of their rooms full of students, but, you know, their graduating classes at the actual college, they ain't reaching out. You know, I've been talking to certain colleges, you know what I'm saying, but they ain't exactly said come out. Why is that? Because I talk too much about things that they don't want me to talk about. I think I'm a critical thinker. You see what I'm saying? I'm coming from a higher level of conversation. I'm coming from a very well informed, from a whole gamut of topics of conversation. So they ain't teaching about going out creating wealth. They're teaching about going out getting a good job, and they make you feel good about it. I'm not into that. I'm not trying to be nobody's employee, because with this kind of wealth being created in the world, it's so much money being created in the world. Why would anybody want to have a job? You know what I'm saying? People getting wealthy off of making screws. You know what I'm saying? I make car parts, y'all. People getting wealthy off of on social media selling beads. You know what I'm saying? This Tiger's Eye. There's people out there creating success, having great lives, pulling in 6 figures a year, selling stuff like this. You know what I'm saying? Making nice living, selling copper. You know what I'm saying? Bending up copper bracelets and pulling in more than you making with your college degree. So why would I want to go get a job? You know, and I ain't trying to be negative, because, you know, if people want to accept less and go do that, then that's on them. You know, I can't control people. Now, going to get a job could be being a doctor. You know what I'm saying? Unless you decide to open your own hospital. Going to get a doctorate in medical doctor is just another job. You can lose your job, you know, as a doctor. You can lose your job as an attorney, but you got to go get your own office. Excuse me. You got to get your own office. So family, people say, TJ, you're racist. TJ, you're mean. TJ, I've heard I was the wrong messenger. The thousands of people that I've helped become successful beg to differ. Again, that goes back to my history. Look up my history. You won't even feel that way. You be sitting there looking crazy. That's why a lot of people don't want to do that. If they go back and look up my history, they be like, wow. You know what I'm saying? The people he raised, the people that came up behind him. See, it's a situation where when you look at people who say their biggest goal, successful situation in life was they graduated from this school, and everybody in the room gives a standing ovation and they're excited about it, I'm the one person that ain't going to stand up and give you no standing ovation, because I want to know that you pay off your student loans. I want to know if you working in the career that you graduated from, that you majored in college, because most of the time it's no. So meaning you wasted all that money. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get excited. And I don't put those kind of people as to be my leader just because they got a doctorate. You're going to lead the community? You don't know enough, in my opinion, and we wonder why, what's going on, what's wrong with the world. The people who leading us don't know anything. They just got their degree. No offense to the people, because you thought you did the right thing. You've been told you did the right thing. But the simple fact, you've been misled. And I'm here to re-educate you, reshare the information that you really need to know. So that's probably why I don't do a lot of lies, because when I get to talking, I don't have concerns about feelings. I don't have concerns about, oh, he hurt my feelings. Oh, that was wrong of him to say that. He said that the wrong way. He could have said it like this. Well, if a boulder was headed down the hill, and I said this before, if a boulder was headed down the hill and I run into a room with a bunch of people and said, we need to get out of here now before this boulder crushed the building, do y'all want me to come in there and be nice and let the speaker finish speaking and be polite and let him finish saying what he was saying? Or do you want me to come in there and say, everybody need to get the fuck out, a boulder's coming right now? I would opt that the person be very disrespectful, run in, snatch the mic out the man's hand and say, hey, boulder's coming down the hill. Everybody need to get the fuck out the building right now before their ass gets smushed. I would prefer that, because I want to get out the building. I don't want to find out, well, the guy was standing there waiting for the speaker to finish speaking, so he didn't want to be disrespectful and interrupt the brother. He was trying to wait to catch their attention and say, hey, my hand's up. Can you please, I'd like to get the mic so I can let everybody know there's a boulder rolling down the hill and it's about to bulldoze this whole facility. So I'd appreciate it if y'all can get in line and safely single file get out. Women and children first. Well, that would sound good, but a lot of people gonna die. And if I found out that he was standing over there to the side waiting patiently so that he can do it the right way, I would be mad at that dude. In fact, I would have a real problem with that guy. But a person who's going to, I expect you in a situation like that, run in there, snatch the mic from somebody's hand, say, everybody get the fuck out. I'm not even going to question that shit. I'm going straight outside to see what's going on to get out of there. You know what I'm saying? So why do I make that reference? I make that reference because people say, oh, he's the wrong messenger. Whatever. I can care less about, and that's a new statement to be making. That's a new statement. I just started hearing that not too long ago, but my whole point is they do that to discredit people because they know these people are right. So now they want to change the narrative and say, well, he may have been right, but he still was wrong because he wasn't polite. He come in there and snatched the mic out the people's hand. He came in there and said it like this. He didn't have to say it like that. He didn't know the difference between two, and two. You know, but my whole point is, y'all, we ain't got time for all that nonsense. We ain't got time for that silliness. All we need to do, we got to fix this problem, and we got a short time to fix it. You know, real estate is at an all-time high. Some people in California have missed the boat. Some people in Georgia have missed the boat. Some people all around the country, if they would have had certain knowledge that I give a long time ago, they could have been saved themselves. They would have never had to leave California, leave New York, leave Atlanta, leave Georgia. You know what I'm saying? Leave South and North Carolina. It's so many people that's having such a hard time because they did not get the information when they could have gotten it. You know what I'm saying? Some people want they fraternity brother to deliver the message. Some people want for their pastor to tell them that this thing's about a boater's headed this way. You know what I'm saying? And if it don't come from one of their people, they ain't gonna hear you. You know what I'm saying? Some police officers only want to listen to police officers. If it ain't coming from their captain, then it must not be true. You know what I'm saying? If it ain't coming from their bishop, it must not be true. It's not real because my bishop would have said something. You know, my fraternity brother would have said something. You know, my professor at the college, the dean, would have told us if that was going to happen. So if the dean said we don't need to learn this, then it must not be no good because my dean is one of the smartest brothers in the whole country. And I always tell people, smart does not dictate. You got different levels of smart. It does not dictate over everybody. You may be smart from a college level perspective. So I always say when it comes down to getting a job, he's brilliant. He's smart. He can tell you how to get a job. He's smart. He can tell you how to go fill out a college loan, college application. He can tell you all about filling out how to get a degree. But he can't tell you nothing about real estate. He can't tell you nothing about an auto loan. How do I go get a good loan? How do I fix a car? They can't tell you. So that ain't smart to me. They just because you got your doctorate don't mean you're smart to me. I have smart under a different level. You know, so no, I tend to want to be smart in things that we use every day. So what makes me smart? Because I can tell you how to fix your car. I can tell you how to work on your house, how to build a house, how to get a mortgage broker loan. So things that we use every day, I'm smart in those things. But if you say, TJ, well, what about college education? I like to say I'm not that bright. I'm not that smart because I can't tell you nothing about a college. I can tell you that I wouldn't do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not a good investment, but I can't tell you nothing outside of that, outside of what the data shows. You feel me? So some people may say TJ's not that smart. Does that make sense to y'all? You know, but anyway, my whole point is it's a lot of information that we need. And I teach a lot of classes about it, y'all. I teach a lot of coaching to help y'all take things to the next level. My tour is coming up again in 24, and it's going to be called Raising the Bar. Because we're going to raise the bar of information that's coming out to our communities because so many people are having these amazing conversations but ain't saying nothing. They ain't helping nothing. You know, when you raise the bar, what does raising the bar look like? I can look back and say, man, it's a whole fleet of people that came behind me that's all millionaires and very successful business owners. I can say there's a whole fleet of very successful classic car builders that own commercial real estate, that own apartment buildings, that own houses because of me. You know what I'm saying? I was honored. Matter of fact, I started coming back and I came back to the West Coast. I've been doing these car shows while I'm on the West Coast. And my brothers came out to support. I had a bunch of car building brothers that are very successful. And it was very humbling. You know what I'm saying? And to sit there and they was proud of me and shaking my hand and we took pictures and, standing side by side. And I ain't even post all my pictures yet, honestly. It was very humbling. They was like, they appreciate what I'm doing. When I started, people was like, they didn't understand what I was doing, but I'm one of the big leaders, and they was kind of frustrated, like, damn, you putting us out there, you telling our business, you putting me, put it like this. I started telling business of what was going on in our community because I'm a futurist. I think the long term. I play the long game, y'all. I saw what was coming down the pipeline in the future. So that's why they call me the economic futurist, because I sat back and saw my industry and saw that the prices was getting higher. My price, I remember when I was paying $800, I was paying $300 to paint a car. Then I started paying $800 to paint a car. Then I started paying $1,200 to paint a car. Then I started paying $1,500. I was like, hold up, this is getting out of control. $1,500 to paint a car? Something ain't right. Then all of a sudden it's like $5,000. I was like, ooh wee. Let me start painting cars myself. I started painting at $1,500. Now it's $40,000. Y'all heard what I said? I started complaining about the time when the paint for a custom lowrider, custom car was $1,500. I decided to learn how to paint myself. And now it's $40,000 on an average to paint a custom car. Y'all heard what I said? So here I am looking down in the future saying, if this keeps up, the paints are going to become super high. If you would have asked me back in the days, what does super high look like? I would have said, man, you're going to be paying like $10,000 to $15,000 to paint a car if we don't stop this. And that was me thinking excessively. I'm thinking excessive. I'm going to be honest with you. I never in my wildest imagination thought that painting would be $40,000. In my wildest imagination, I never thought nobody would ever pay $20,000 to paint a car. In my wildest imagination, I never saw $20,000 coming. I never thought 20,000. I thought 20,000. I would have never said that because I thought that was a little. They'd be like, TJ, come on, man, that's a little excessive, don't you think? 20,000 was excessive to me. 15,000 was excessive. But like I said, there's people paying 40,000 now, y'all. So what is my point of saying this? Can I get some likes? Am I making sense to y'all? Can y'all give me some likes and help your brother out here? Can our brother get some donations and some shares to keep this thing going? So what is my point? I saw this coming where the paint kept going up because it started getting harder and harder to find painters. It started getting harder and harder to find brothers who knew how to paint. So I started realizing that, and that's why I was making decisions and said, man, one day I'm going to have to come out this situation and start teaching others. And that's when I was telling some people, and they was like, man, come over here and teach. So I started teaching people the game. I had people that I would bring up to my shop and teach them how to paint, teach them about body work and show them how all that stuff worked. And then the next thing you know, it was like, I got given a bigger platform. I was invited to go to high schools and speak. I was invited to go to my own high school. They said they need some money. I was invited to be a part of that. We need to raise some money, TJ. We need to reach out to these famous Compton people that you know. And we need to get them to the table so we can raise some money so we can teach paint classes. And that's exactly what I did. And people were looking at me crazy, like, TJ, man, that's crazy. You teaching people the game. They didn't really challenge me because they know I'm the voice of lowriding. I'm just like Elon Musk is the voice of electric cars. When you got a question about electric cars, go talk to Elon Musk. They knew when they had a question about lowriding business, go talk to TJ. So I'm that voice of lowriding. So when I said that I saw this coming, that's why I've been on the road for like the last decade talking about it. And I can say I got some major wins. I got some major good things that happened. But at the same time, paint still 40,000. People paying 10 grand for a basic one a day, or what do you call it? A basic paint job. 10 grand to shoot your regular 2002 Cadillac, you know what I'm saying? Or whatever. People paying 10 grand to shoot a basic car, paint on it. Now, you come in and say, hey, I got a 57 Chevy convertible. I need this to be flawless because I'm shipping this to Japan. My customer is is one of the sons of blah 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 electronic company, and they're $1 billion family. So I need this paint. I'm gonna spend 40,000 painting that car because I want it flawless. And he may have to spray it 3 times before I'm happy with it. Before I say that's it right there. That's right. You know what I'm saying? So fast forward the story. Painting is high. So I saw it coming, y'all, and I stepped out on this industry, and I got out and I started becoming a public speaker. And then at the same time, I know the industry of what's coming, and I start telling people, hey, man, we got flying cars coming. Are y'all ready? People need to start getting these pilot licenses because the whole world is about to change. History is about to change. All right, I've been on here for a long time, y'all. Y'all got any questions for me? Anybody want to come split the screen and talk with me? So I started teaching that, and that's why I got my finger on the pulse of what's going on around the world. If y'all interested in me doing your podcast, doing your coming out speaking at your college, coming out speaking, you know what I'm saying, at your next event, inbox me or just give me a call, 310-619-3954. Go to my website, tjloftin.com. If y'all want to make a donation on my Cash App, 310-619-3954. You know what I'm saying? Let me know, family. I'm glad I was able to take this time out to share because I've been told, I've been pressured that I need to do more lives. People keep telling me that. I just be like, ugh. Sometimes when I start speaking, y'all, I got to watch myself, watch my mouth. I always ask. I literally be like, I'm going to delete that. I'll be like later, I'm going to delete that. I don't know why I said that. I shouldn't have said that. And I'll be like, I hate that. Then I'll be wanting to come back and delete stuff because I don't like having certain conversations. I don't like talking about certain conversations on social media. I don't like people knowing how I think because good information can be a threat to other people who's spreading bad information. Good information coming from someone with a credible background could make people who got a good look, who's doing very well, it can make them lose money. So I necessarily don't care because people be like, put you in situations. They got guys say, I'm gonna put them two on a panel discussion together, and then we're gonna let them battle it out. You know what I'm saying? And that happened to me in one of my first conversations, and I wasn't expecting it. I was coming in there humble, thinking I'm going to be a good guy, and because I am a good guy. I was coming there thinking I'm just going to come in here, share what I know, and I'm going to leave. You know, I didn't realize they put me on a panel discussion with somebody else who was trying to be the voice of real estate in the black community and was teaching the complete opposite. So it turned into a pissing contest, a straight battleground argument, you know what I'm saying? And I was mad, you know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't expecting to get into it with nobody about that topic, you know? So I got pissed off about that, you know? And I'm like, who's this fool challenging me? Don't he know who the fuck I am? Excuse my language. Don't he know what I've done in my background? How dare he? He don't got the right to speak on me. He don't even know me. He don't even know my background. I don't got to know his, but I know that I've done major things, so it did not go well, and I didn't like that. But my whole point is that's what they do. But let that happen again. Watch how my response be. I'm ready for something like that now because I got some experience on how all that stuff worked. I just wish somebody would have told me that's how I was going. But was it a learning experience for others? No, because the real information didn't get out. Was it a learning experience for me? Yes. Because I know now that there's stupid people. There's people who going to put us up against each other to make sure to so we can battle it out and see who wins. But that ain't helping the community because if I'm sitting there battling and arguing and debating with somebody and he got a huge following bigger than mine and people looking at me like, dude ain't got no followers. I just looked him up. He got 10 followers. I looked at his last live and there was 2 people on there. You know what I'm saying? I looked at old boy's live. He had like 12, 15,000 people listening to him speak. So dude don't know what he's talking about because the other dude's social media is higher. So since when did social media dictate a level of knowledge, people's level of knowledge? So Now we got to have a understanding of how social media works and how social media affects people who's pushing a certain narrative. Social media will allow people to prosper if they pushing bad information. You start talking about stock market and selling stocks and the stock market is good, your social media is going to boom. You start talking about real estate flipping, your social media is going to boom. You start talking about building houses from the ground up, your social media is going to tank. Y'all heard what I said? You ain't going to have a huge following. If you start talking about building tiny houses from the ground up, your social media is going to boom. You start talking about building regular houses and putting kids in the trades and learning how to build, your social media is going to tank. But it depends on who's teaching it. You know what I'm saying? If they got a credible background, social media is going to tank. You got a good background, a bad background, don't nobody know who you are, and you ain't really did nothing with this. This is new because last month you used to sell MLMs. Then, your social media is going to boom because they give a lot of power to people with bad knowledge and give less power to people with real knowledge. People who can make a change, they don't need them on the mic, So anyway, but that ain't never stopped me. I'm still here. I'm going to keep pushing to do what I got to do. So anyway, if y'all want to go on my website and take one of my courses, I appreciate it. Support the movement. Let me see what we got here. That would be cool. TikTok, Instagram, I appreciate y'all. Can the brother get some likes? Can they give me a donation if you think I said something good? Let me see here. Go back and check, see if I missed any questions. Anybody want to come in? Got any thoughts, any ideas? People be like, man, I was on your live and I said, what's up? And you didn't respond. I'd be like, I didn't see it. Y'all need some consultations. You need a consultation, inbox me or call me on that number. TikTok, I'm still learning how to use this, so if I didn't answer something, y'all forgive me. I've been messing with that Instagram, but Instagram been hating on me too. Oswald Lynch, I appreciate you. You ain't got no picture. All right, family, I appreciate y'all. TJLoftin.com. TJLoftin.com.